Is Matt leaving the Manspace? Find out today.
Welcome to the Manspace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter.
Welcome, Spacemen.
The answer is no.
It's true. The answer is no. Matt is going to enhance the Manspace.
There you go.
The
Manhancer.
Yeah. So I had a lady last week, and we were talking about. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I said, oh, we talked about that on the podcast today. And she goes, wait, you do a podcast? And I was like, yeah. She goes, what's it called? And I'm like, the Manspace. And she goes, you boys.
I was thinking about it. Between you and Rob's offices that you posted the little flyer.
Yeah.
I wonder, because mine's out on my table, but I'll have people that I've seen for a long time, I guess that have never glanced over into this corner, and they'll say wait, what? You have a podcast? I'm like, I don't know what people look at when they're sitting out there, but obviously not the flyer.
Yeah, clearly it's not that.
Mine's even propped up with a plastic thing.
Well, I put mine on, so I have my door and I have two, the sides of it have panels of glass.
Uh-huh.
And so it's right there in one of the panels, just a big QR code.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen, I remember I opened the door one day to go out and use the restroom or go to lunch or something. And there's a dude standing there with his phone out. And I was like, oh, can I help you? And he goes, no, I'm just trying to scan. He's like, is this good stuff? And I was like, I mean.
Like a guy that was your client or just?
No, just some dude walking by the hallway. Huh? And I was like.
You've got an outdoor exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a guy a couple doors down from me who's a therapist. There's actually a handful of therapists in here, but there's a guy 2 doors down from me, and twice in the last week I've had people be like, yeah, I'm looking for this guy. Is that you? I was like, no. And I'm like, you guys know the numbers are on the door, right?
Yeah.
And it clearly, the guy who's 2 doors down from me, I don't know what nationality he is. Middle Eastern of some kind. I apologize for my not knowing things.
Yeah.
Don't yell at me, listeners, for my insensitivities. But I'm like, clearly I'm not that guy. I don't look like that.
Yeah.
When I was on my mission, and I might have told you guys this before, when I was on my mission having an argument with one of my companions, I was out 3 months. So I still did not have a handle on the language.
Yeah.
Guy had been out for however long. His accent was terrible though. And he was we were both 6'1". I could get really tan, but no one at 6'1" is going to mistake me for a Salvadoran.
Yeah.
This dude was my height, but had blonde hair, blonde hair. And so we're sitting here arguing, and he won't speak English no matter where we are. And finally I just get frustrated. I'm like, dude, why do you keep talking Spanish? I don't speak Spanish that well yet. Why do you keep speaking Spanish? And he goes, well, I don't want people to look at us weird and think we're weird because they hear us speaking English. And I was like, dude, you're a 6-foot white guy. They think it's weird you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Which was true. The number of times I'd have people double take because they would hear us speak Spanish. Wait, you speak Spanish? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm living in your country. What would you think I would speak?
Seriously. I remember one time talking to this lady. We'd been talking to her for 5 minutes already. And my companion at the time was from College Station, I think, Texas.
Yeah.
And his mom was Mexican. And he was he passed as Mexican even before he opened his mouth. Right.
Yeah.
And I was really dark. A lot of people told me I looked like I was from Mexico City, because I guess people are just taller there. But
yeah.
But we're talking to this lady, for like 5 minutes. And then she asked where we're from. And we both say, we're from the United States. She's like, oh, do you guys speak Spanish? We're like, what have we been doing for the last 5 minutes?
Do you guys speak Spanish? That's weird. I wish, like, in a quicker thinking moment, it's like, do you speak English? Like, what is it you think we've been doing? Oh my gosh, that's rad.
When you're talking about that guy looking for the other therapist, you're probably familiar with this from the elementary schools, that system where they, like at the front office, they scan your license and then it goes through like the sex offender registry list or something.
Yeah.
At my daughter's school, I went and I was like checking in for lunch or something when she was in elementary school. And the lady, like, she was a newer front office person. So she like looks at the computer, looks up at me, looks all terrified and just starts like backing her chair up. And I'm like, what is going on? And then the assistant principal who knew me comes out. And she's like, what's going on? Oh, no. She's like, that's not him. But I could see kind of where you made the connection. It's another like white bearded dude with dark hair, you know? And so then for internship site visits, I had to go up to this center in Houston that like strictly deals with childhood sexual abuse. So obviously like super careful for stuff like this. So I'm like, I'm probably going to flag there. So I give him my license and the lady pauses and I'm like, I know there's another guy. She's like, no. Like, this guy's black. I know it's not you. The picture that came up wasn't as confusing as the first one. So
no, this guy's black. That's hilarious.
Having a common name, man.
Yeah. That's yeah. I can't. I mean, mine is common enough.
Yeah.
But not. The most I get is, oh, so do you know these porters? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's lots of us, and I'm not related to most of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am somewhere, obviously, but
yeah. Where?
And Rob's gone for, Spacemen.
Dropping off a child at college, the first.
Yeah. So was it, because it was, what, like 2 weeks ago we were talking about this?
Yeah, like the midlife crisis stuff. And
was it as hard the second time for you?
Well, I think like I was saying last time, it was harder in a lot of ways, but not related to birth order.
Yeah.
Because like,
just because
Vanessa, we dropped off at BYU. She'd already lived there as a kid. Like, we're familiar with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she already had family in town. And so even though she didn't technically know her roommate yet, like we met her roommate and her parents, and it was like they had already been kind of talking. And even though Nicole's only like 3 hours away, it's like we've been camping up in that area pretty regularly, but I have no context for the school. And she's got like all the mobility needs, and I mean, a lot of that stuff still isn't worked out.
Yeah.
So she's having to make do with some like doors that don't open right, and several like stuff that makes it difficult to get up under her bed and all that stuff. But and then her personality, so it was like I was a lot more like kind of protective. But man, she blew me away because she is not one to like advocate for herself or speak up.
Yeah.
And like with the housing thing I was telling you about, she had to call. We walked all the way over to like the residence life area and talked to some people there. And I was just trying to show her like how you can kind of gently but persistently keep prying and keep prying and keep prying. And so we left with some better answers, but then the manager overheard us, and the supervisor, he comes out and he's like, hey, I think they gave you bad info. And he's like, give me your name. And I heard what they were saying. And so he's like, you need to talk to this person in disability services, which we'd already talked to.
Mm-hmm.
But every time we'd call, it was like, you call disability services. Oh, you need to talk to residence life. You call residence life. Oh, you need to talk to disability services. And it's like, you just keep getting booted around. So she knew what that guy had said. You have to talk to this person, right? So she gets the frontline person in disability services, and immediately, just like her knee-jerk response is, oh, you need to call residence life. And my daughter's like, no, they told us to call you, and I need to talk to this person. They were like, oh, yeah, okay. I was like, yes. So that's like, just huge growth for her.
Yeah.
And, multiple situations like that where she just stepped up and figured it out. And I think, like, for her, and I think for a lot of kids, it's like there's so much anticipatory anxiety about, things they have to do, that as a parent, it can feel like, oh crap, like I've got to somehow help them with that, and so that they can do the thing that they need to do. But I think I'm just learning over and over with her, like, she'll do exactly what she needs to do when she needs to do it, but not a second before that.
Yep.
But when she actually does it, she'll blow you away with how she handles it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to just trust that and not feel, protective. Or I was telling Lisa, like, from day one with her, like, when they like gave her first bath and put her in like the little incubator thingies,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting in there with her and just watching people kind of walk by looking at the babies, and then everybody pausing, trying to figure out like what's going on with her, right? And just like immediately feeling like, I am gonna come out of this freaking room and like strangle you, and like just have this like instant fierce kind of response. And this was like, everything else was super, super positive, but like stupid, immature college dudes driving by on the street, like yelling stuff at her because she's on her mobility scooter.
Yeah.
And she's just like, blows it off. But I told Lisa, I'm like, every time that happens, I seriously want to like grab that dude, lift him off the ground, take his knees out with a baseball bat, and say like, hey dude, how's it like to walk?
Yeah.
Like, I just
have fun with that, buddy.
Yeah. But obviously I didn't do that. But
good job.
Those are the types of
to avoid
reactions
getting arrested.
I have to temper. But
yeah, that's parenting. Yeah. Anyway, so so at the risk of, well, whatever, I don't care. This is one of the things that has always impressed me about you, Matt. Is I think how deeply you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm, because it's not like, I don't know, there just feels like a purity to it, if that makes sense. Maybe genuine is the better way to say it. Like there's I don't even know how I would say that. Genuineness, is that a word? Is now.
Disingenuous is a word.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Right? See? Which, like, as I hear these stories, like it just comes through to me, and it's one of the things that I really appreciate about you. And it's also like, as I look at it, it's one of the things that I think you do so well with men. Like Jenna and I were kind of talking about this today, and I just, like I mentioned, I said, yeah, like I think one of Matt's strong suits is his ability not just to connect with men, which is its own thing, but your ability to then get the men to go into these vulnerable and, just kind of uncomfortable and often scary places with just like a, hey, like, let's do this. Mm-hmm. So, which this is why, right? My opening question of, is Matt leaving? No, Matt's not leaving. But he has been working on something that he's going to start rolling out on Monday, right?
Yeah, I'll do. Well, thank you first. Right back at you, man.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing Monday episodes for 4 weeks. So starting September 8th. And it'll give kind of like a broad overview of this model and course that goes along with it. And I'm going to take in 10 initial people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, you don't have to be present for anything. This is all like self-paced.
Yeah.
But I'll take in 10 people to basically like test drive it and pay me with their feedback. So it's free other than that.
For those 10 people.
And then based on that feedback and how that first run goes, the official version of it will come out in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a course for men.
For men.
Okay. So I guess my first question for you is, where did your desire for this come from? Like, you've always been, as long as I've known you. If Rob were here, he could speak to longer.
Mm-hmm.
But you've always been, like, all three of us, I think, are passionate about helping men kind of, mental health and stuff like that. I think we all feel a need to shift the dialogue there.
Mm-hmm.
But you have always seemed different, like passionate about it in a different way to me. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what made you want to start this? What made you want to create this course that you're doing?
Well, I'll start way back, I guess. This was probably like 15 years ago. We were camping outside of Lubbock, and it was like probably 1 a.m. Like, we had noticed that there was this other group, I guess. There were like a couple tents a little ways from us, but no one had been there all day. Occasionally we saw like a couple guys sitting there. And so like at 1 a.m, I hear a car pull up, and this woman comes out and just starts like laying into one of the guys. And I could kind of make out that there was like not good communication about plans or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy just immediately starts kind of like apologizing, and she's still angry, keeps apologizing, she's still angry.
So he's not like fighting back at all.
No. And then
it's one of those, I'm going to try to find the quickest way out of this.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to apologize for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then she's still angry. And then he starts to just get quiet, and she's still angry. And then he blows up, and then she cries. And then he goes back to apologizing. She goes to angry, and like he goes quiet. And I'm just sitting there like pissed that it's 1 a.m. I'm trying to sleep.
Well, yeah.
But also having this desire to walk over there and be like, do you guys see what's going on? Like, but also not wanting to do therapy while I'm camping.
Right.
At 1 a.m. But like, I think that is, sadly, like, that is the survival mode rhythm of a man's existence. Yep. Right? Is like,
yep.
Appease, withdraw, react. Appease, withdraw, react. Right? And I think like most guys who would say I'm trying to be a good guy try to withdraw and react the least amount possible and just up the appeasing. And so like that's been kind of a pattern that has been in my mind for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and that's like specific to relationships, right? But then as I started to just pay more attention to myself and how I function, and like I just see, man, like I'm in that rhythm in every part of my life. And I think like the appease part of things oftentimes turns into kind of this like compliance, like discipline type of mindset. I'm just gonna like, double down harder.
Mm-hmm.
But then you find that like the blowback from the withdraw and the detachment gets, bigger. And then you find yourself like going into this reactive, defensive, complaining, everything's stacked against me, blah, blah, blah. And then somewhere along there, you get this hope to kind of come back to it. So it's just like patterns of survival and talking to men, seeing that in couples therapy, but then getting them in individual sessions and recognizing like, that's just like the surface of this. Right. And like it goes way deeper than that. And we all say, I think oftentimes as men, like just basically give me a fix, give me a tool, give me a whatever. Right. And I think they do work sometimes to get behavior going.
Yeah.
But then just feeling like, man, there's not like the deeper transformation that could be happening for me, for the men that I'm working with. Like, so like over the last probably 6 or 7 years, my mind's been in that space pretty heavily. And I think there's just so many of us that don't even realize that we're surviving. That's it. Right. Like the kind of the rule that we operate by is like no bad things equals a good life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we'll say things all the time like I'm simple, I don't have many like desires or whatever, and we kind of just we dial our desire down to like a set of very few things, but then inevitably like those things start to disappear and then you're really screwed, right? And that's sometimes when guys get really upset. But I think it's just like there's this really predictable pattern of survival that we're stuck in, and I've tried really hard to understand that for myself and for other men and develop ways to like unlock that and transform more like our way of being rather than what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're and then I think because of that, like deeper dives into like everything from like near-death experiences and quantum physics and mechanics to like mythology and older writings of psychology and Eastern wisdom, and like I feel like I've kind of gone all over the place searching for bits and pieces, and I feel like for me this is the best representation of like bringing that all into something that can work for me and the guys I work with.
So you said something about tools, right? And and it just got me thinking about this idea of like, because I've heard it, I've said it, like I've heard, I have lots of guys that are like you said, just give me the tools.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, like as a teacher, I learned a couple of different things about like how to manage the class. One was it had to feel natural to me. Like if it wasn't, if the thing didn't fit my personality, my students would call me out on it. Like I still remember one, I'd watched my cousin do this thing. I was observing him teach and I watched him do this thing. And like, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And so I went to school the next week and I was, one of the kids just, I was like, oh, this is my moment.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and all the kids, like the whole room just like stopped. I mean, probably not, but that in my memory, right? The whole room like stopped, and they all looked at me like, "What the crap are you doing, Mr. Porter?" And these were 12-year-olds, so yeah, one of them probably, maybe not what the crap, but like, what are you doing, Mr. Porter? And it was just one of those things. Where I was like, yeah, that's not me.
Yeah.
But the other thing, and this is where I'm going, and it'll tie back. Whatever. The thing I realized is like, yeah, there are some things that will feel like a tool or will feel not genuine to me. until I incorporate them so much. Like there are things that I didn't used to do as, before I started therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That when I first started doing them, they felt unnatural. Jenna would be like, don't do therapy on me. Like, stop it. And I would say like, no, like I need to learn how to do this. I need this to be like reflexive for me.
Mm-hmm.
I need it to not be something that I consciously think about. I need it to just be something that I do.
Yeah.
And I think we can reach a point with these things that start out as tools, that as we find the ones that work for us and that fit our personalities, we're able to incorporate them and they simply become part of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, I guess, my question is, it almost seems like what you're describing is more about a way to understand who we are as men.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like...
Yeah. I think that, like, for many reasons, I think we're just backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably like the simplest way to describe it, right? Because we are so socialized externally. And it's like, if I build this, if I do this, if I accomplish this, then that eventually moves inward and becomes a part of me. And I'm not saying that there's no value in like behavior change or like fake it till you make it. But like change from the inside out is so much more sustainable.
Yeah.
When you were talking about like tools and things like that, like when I'm working with men, a lot of times I'll say like, yeah, we'll use that tool, or like you'll be doing maybe the same thing you're doing now, but the experience will be so much different, right? Like that tool won't be something that you like anxiously grasp at and try to control, right? It'll be something that is a natural extension of the movement you're already in, right? Like, and I think kind of like what you're saying, I guess along those same lines, how in our church we move people a lot.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, like there was like an urgency probably to get the job done quickly. And there still is, right? But there was not a lot of thought, and there didn't have to be, I guess, because your body could take it back then on like, hey, can I carry this fridge single-handedly down these 3 flights of stairs? It's like, oh, whatever, let's just move it, right? And like everybody's kind of clamoring and it's just urgent, right? And yes, the fridge still made it to the van or the truck, but I always, like back then I would get frustrated with the older guys who were like, well, hold on, let's measure this. Let's see if this is even going to fit through the door. Let's see, and I'm like, let's just move it, but
yeah, we'll figure out if it fits through the door when we get to the door.
Yeah. But I think now it feels more like, yeah, we'll still move the fridge, right? Like,
yeah.
And,
well, let's find the smarter way to move the fridge.
Yeah. And like that internal change that can occur, that really is where we should be living from anyway, will make everything else that much easier. And to some extent, I don't want to say that you don't need any tools, but I tell people a lot, like, when you're in this place, the words will come out. Like, and even if they're not right, like the feeling and the essence of what you're communicating will override any flaws in your wording, right? So, and it'll sound like you. It won't sound like you're using some tool, right? And so I think we get a lot of things backwards because sadly, I think for us, peace is like, again, distance and freedom from bad things.
Yeah.
And so that's an anxious pause, basically. It's not peace. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so help me see the kind of the bigger picture of what you're talking about. Like, what's the like the model, I guess?
Yeah. So, and I'll go into this obviously in a lot more detail on the Monday episodes, but basically, I started to think about concepts related to mind, heart, and body that make a lot of sense to me and feel kind of a lot more intuitive. So I think in general, if you think when you're in survival mode, you're literally like trapped in your mind, right? And you don't have access to, you're kind of like cut off at the neck, basically, right? You don't have access to anything else. You're ignoring everything else. You're not getting the necessary information to be able to move through life and move through relationships. So as I started to just kind of pay more and more attention to our anatomy, because I wanted to kind of ground it in these concepts of embodiment, like what is actually going on in my body, right? And why am I living in such a small part of my body and just trapped up in this mind space that oftentimes as men we pride ourselves in, right? Like I can think my way through it and all that stuff, but a mind disconnected from a heart and body is pretty useless, and an overburdened mind that's trying to solve heart and mind problems also just completely exhausted, constantly in need of a break, right? And so so when you look at the anatomy of your heart, there's 4 chambers, right? And then this is more a conceptual framework of the mind or the brain, but the triune brain is like 3 layers to your brain, right? And you can still apply that in other ways, but I looked at that as like, those are like literally the 7 compartmentalized, closed off chambers that we exist in as men. So these 7 chambers, right? We're constantly in survival mode. We're just trapped in these 3 chambers of the mind, right? Where like if I'm in my brain stem, I'm just in like compliance mode. Check the box, right? Like eliminate the threat and get it out of here. And then if I go into my midbrain, my limbic system, then I am in that detached, kind of down regulating, trying to numb out, and all sorts of stuff exists there, right? And then if I just like step a toe into my cortex, which is where a lot of tools exist, right? And like growth and, all the things that we're trying to access, the best I can muster is some defiant, explosive, like, I can detect double standards, I can detect hypocrisy and things like that. But then I pretty quickly get pulled right back into like compliance mode. So if you think of these chambers, it's like that's where we live, and we have not explored the chambers of the heart at all, right? And the way your heart works naturally is it takes in pain, basically, right? It receives deoxygenated blood and pumps it into your lungs, receives it again as fully oxygenated, like ready to go lifeblood, and pumps it out, right? And so like we're completely out of rhythm with who we are naturally when we cut ourselves off from that, right? Like everything's a threat, everything's something to be, like we're trying to create this kind of like stability, predictability, certainty. We're trying to prevent problems, right? But the natural rhythm is like it comes and goes, right? And it's pain is embraced, and you make active choices about that, right? And then you receive that full dose of life that gives you the power to move forward. And if you tie that back into your brain, like that rhythm of your heart and that blood that it's literally transforming for you flows back up into your brain and has the power to transform those 3 chambers into what they should be, right? Like peace, presence, and purpose. And so when you kind of go through a process of leaving that like horrible tower of the mind, right? And getting down into your heart and clearing things out and getting into a rhythm of transforming and moving with the natural rhythm of your body and life, right? Then you have the capacity to become, right? And to kind of be who you're supposed to be at your full capacity over time, multiple iterations of that. But at that point, this is kind of like as it's made more sense to me as I've done a lot more. And I'll say this as I say I've done a lot more, right? I feel like in terms of where I could be if I continue to live this way and practice this, I'm probably 25% of the way there. If that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I have noticed a significant reduction in my reactivity to things that used to just send me into frustration mode really quickly.
Yeah.
I still get frustrated, right? I still have those moments, but in terms of my ability to pause and kind of get back into the rhythm that I want to get into, big improvements for me, but still a long way to go. But all that is to say, at 25%, I can kind of see when those 7 chambers are harmonized and open, right? And they're kind of synchronizing. Then it's like these 3 centers of your being kind of start to work together, right? I have the capacity to embrace and transform pain. I have the ability to receive and give life. And then I have that increased capacity to grow and become from a grounded place in my mind. And so when I tie all those things together and kind of pull in themes of masculinity and relationship and particularly our relationship with ourselves, our bodies and all of that, it just made a lot of sense for me. So that's kind of a broad overview.
So I'm you noticed the pattern that you described 15 years ago. When did you start working when did you start kind of being aware of and implementing these things in yourself? You mentioned, right, I've been working on about 25% of the way. How long have you been working at it?
The way I just described it?
Yeah.
Maybe a year.
Yeah.
The way that I've been formulating it now. I think that's come together in bits and pieces.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm sure it's been a longer process, just because I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're kind of figuring some of it out as you work through it. And solidifying it more, getting a more concrete idea of this is what I'm seeing in myself. This is what I'm seeing in other men. This is, yeah. I'm so super intrigued by this. What, and maybe this is jumping ahead, but when you envision these things, these 7 chambers working in harmony, what do you see as kind of this is what happens? What's the end goal for a dude who manages to get these 7, or what's the end result for the guy who manages to get these 7 chambers working in harmony?
In ideal form, right? He's not afraid or resisting anything. And he's creating and contributing to his maximum potential. And he feels deeply alive. I think that's been one of the it's sad, right? When I think about a lot of the men we work with and ourselves too, it's the life is gone, right? It's like that vitality, of that little boy, right?
Yeah.
And the craziness of the teenager, it's dead, right? And I think that obviously it exists differently as you're older, but I think maybe that's a better way to put it. Somebody when they're living this way, there's just a deep sense of life and all that goes along with that, and a harmony with it, because, and these are all these aren't new ideas, right? Like,
right.
I think when you think about a lot of what we're talking about, you can find it in so many different
Yeah.
things, right? This is just my experience and my take on it, and my kind of like consolidation and packaging of things that I think work really well together.
Yeah.
But I think that like you could tie it back to just ideas of, you know, being kind of, depending on your faith tradition, right? The ideal version of that, or from like a grounded relational and career perspective, just kind of like at your peak but not sprinting, you know, like a manageable, grounded forward motion. And I think what has happened too, this has maybe been the cooler part, like as I've talked to men and also like groups of men, I think it taps into some more like ancient experiences that are encoded in us in some way, because it brings us together, right? There's like an energy that comes from when I'm tapping into these parts of myself, and you are too, and we're relating on that. Like together we kind of know our path. It's like and maybe that's another element of it too, like a deep intuition. I think we rely so much on our intellect, and I can't remember what I was watching. It was two different videos, but there was one that was like basically like information and knowledge is worthless now, because AI like runs circles around us with that. Like,
Yeah.
so there's no value in it from a human perspective. Like, who cares if you know a bunch of crap?
Right.
But wisdom, right? Which is like, I have lived this and experienced this on all of these levels, that one of which is intellect. But where has our like deep intuition gone? And how has that contributed to, like, if it's disappeared largely, no wonder we're in survival mode. So I think it's connecting men more deeply to themselves, but in ways that maybe we don't prioritize and we don't really get a lot of experience practicing.
Well, and it's interesting to me, because I think the more we lean into this analytical aspect of ourselves, like, to me, it's just us reducing the possibility for error. Right? Like we want the proven formula.
Yeah.
And that's like, as you were talking, I thought, you know, like, and again, because you have an idea of the overarch of where this goes, but to me, I think, yeah, this is not like, you're not talking about something that is like, hey, you know, guys, I'm going to help you fix your relationship with your wife. Like, no, that's not what this is. Like, you're still going to have issues with your wife. You're still going to have issues with people you work with. Like, you're still going to run into issues. The difference is going to be your own individual ability to A, manage yourself in those situations, and B, like, there's something to me about that idea of learning to trust what that instinct tells you, even if it contradicts the thing that logic says, hey, this is what should be done here. We see those people who are able to just say, like, yeah, like, instinctually, this is what needs to happen, and it is. And they can't justify it, they can't anything, but they just know this is the thing. And to me, I think, yeah, that feels like one of the things that you're kind of talking about, is that idea of like tapping into that part of ourselves where, you know, as kids, you just did things. And like, in your head, should work. So let's just go do it. And you don't overanalyze it. And it's why we all do remarkably dumb things.
Right.
And I do think, like, I was talking to a guy the other day about, he was talking about, anytime he gets to Bentonville, Arkansas, he goes, I get there, and he goes, and it is just like, the closer I get, the more my, like, you know, like, my soul or my spirit is like just aching to get out and just go. And as we talked about it back and forth, I said, yeah, I wonder how much, knowing the conversations we'd had on here, I thought, I wonder how much of that is just because you're doing this thing that lets you tap into your inner child, which is really probably the last time you felt that sense of freedom and I can trust my instinct and just do, and I don't have to overthink it because I'm just, I'm riding a bike and here's a jump and I'm going to do the jump and I don't know how it's going to turn out and I don't care because everything in me is saying, just do it.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's it. And he goes, that's exactly the thing. And I thought, yeah, he's tapping into it in this very isolated, environment and incident. And I think to me, again, assuming I'm not like wildly misinterpreting everything you've been saying for the last almost hour, I feel like, yeah, that's the thing you're talking about. Like, that's what you're offering a way for us to kind of make that thing not a one-off experience.
Yeah. And
to
something
make it
that you have to like, I mean, it's awesome that he has that intensity
of
feeling, right? And that in and of itself is rewarding.
Yeah.
Like, but also, what if that was
a normal
accessible
thing
to you?
Yeah.
In more ways, in more places, and it wasn't just, Bentonville still had that special place for you, but but it was accessible.
But you can access these other
areas
too. Yeah. Okay, so these Monday, these 4 you said you're gonna do. So
I'll do one. Go ahead.
Just what are you going to cover in those 4? Like what for the people who get involved, and we'll get into that in a minute. But for the people who get involved, like what can they expect from these 4 episodes?
Yeah, so this course and the model that I use is a 3-stage process, right? And it's not, I think sometimes when we think about courses or things that have an ending, it's like, okay, I go through the 3 stages and then
I get my certificate.
Then I'm fixed, right? Look at this more as like, these are 3 stages that, yes, initially are sequential, right? But really are a rhythm that you're trying to establish in your life and in your relationship with yourself and others. So this is just kind of like maybe your first or a return to some of those things, right? But mapping it out. So those will be the first episode will just be like kind of a deep dive into the problem, like survival mode, what that is, what it entails, what it looks
like.
There will be a landing page on the Manspace website that you can go to if you want to jump in on the beta version of it, and you can sign up there, and there will also be a quiz to kind of like assess
where you're at currently,
what degree you're in survival mode, and then that hopefully can kind of help you as you go through the course. But right now, right, this is like the first go, so I want feedback on what works, what doesn't,
on every part of it.
Yeah. So if there's pieces that you're like, didn't need that or want more of that, but it'll be deep dive into survival mode, and then episodes 1, 2, and 3 will be stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and then I'll wrap up on those. And those of you that have the jump in on the beta version will get access to the content of the course, videos, worksheets, meditations, and just pay me with your feedback. Don't ghost me.
Okay, so right
now,
take
it and run.
Right now, you're offering this to 10 people. So how do they get to be one of the 10 people?
So that landing page, I'll have that in the show notes.
Okay.
On the Monday episode.
Okay.
So that landing page will have...
So these first 4 episodes, anybody can listen to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They will cover, broadly what's in the course.
Yeah.
But like the actual content and worksheets and all of that stuff is
that will be accessible to 10 guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Can they bribe their way into this?
What do you mean?
I mean, like, let's say the patron saint is interested or the angel investor is interested. And they're like guys number 11 and 12, but they are offering you sodas and meats. Does that bump them up the list?
I'm gonna have to say first come, first serve.
Okay.
Get up early on Monday morning, listen to the episode, click on the show notes. So to be clear, it's Monday the 8th.
Yeah. And then it'll be what, like the 3 that follow just once a week after that?
Yeah. So basically starting the 8th, it's like the rest of the Mondays of September.
Okay.
And if you miss that window, again, you could also look at it like the fully integrated and improved version of it will be available in January too.
In January.
But that one will cost money.
Yeah. You're still working on that part of it? The cost part, like or do you have okay.
No, I think one of the best ways to get that feedback is just from the people that go through
from the people who are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so that's it. Like and like I can already think of a couple people that'll encourage to check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think, like I might be working with a couple and I think they could really kind of benefit from this kind of learning how to kind of see those things in themselves and shift again. Like we all have guys that talk about the tools, and I think shift away from that idea of I just need the right tool. No, it's not about needing the right tool.
Yeah.
It's about finding and this understanding and this balance within yourself. Nope, totally forgot what I was going to say there. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Like, to me, I think, if you're interested in this, I mean, even if once it hits the 10, still reach out. Like,
I was going to say there's, as this builds, look at it like, even if you're opting in for anything, right, you'll be connected to other resources that come out, bits and pieces of this, and that way you can kind of decide how much or how little you want to engage with. But I would encourage everybody to just opt in, and I'll let you know what content is available. But yeah.
Okay, dude, I'm so excited about this for you.
Thanks, man. It has been a long time coming, and I think it really has been rewarding to see, as I've been able to use some of it with guys that I work with, and like how helpful it's been for them to kind of tap into parts of themselves that they either didn't even know existed, or bring way more relief than they anticipated, or just transform something that helps them to be more fully themselves and more fully alive. It's been awesome, so I'm excited.
I think this is great. So, Spacemen or Space Women,
Space Gals,
if you think your husband might benefit from this, encourage him to listen to the episode and sign up for himself. But no, seriously, to me, it's worth the listen if you are even the tiniest bit, which I don't know how you couldn't be. Like, I'm super intrigued by this. If you have interest in this,
you and Rob get free access. So
jackpot. No, but if to me, I think if you're even a little bit interested, it's worth the checkout. Like I said at the beginning, and this is not, because like Matt said a couple of weeks ago, comparison blows. So this is not a comparative statement that I'm making, which is still, I totally want that doormat, dude.
That was a doormat.
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a doormat. It could be that too. But I saw it and I thought, it looks kind of like a doormat to me. Like I'd put that on the so that people every time they're walking into my office have to walk over. Comparison blows. No, but again, right? Like this is not. I'm not making commentary about my ability to work with men, which I think I can connect with men just fine, or Rob's. But I'm in particular, I think you have a gift for it.
Thanks, man.
And so I think for the spacemen listening, like you got a chance to really kind of tap into Matt and take advantage of what he has been doing with men on a more complete level than what you get here. So yeah, check it out and join us next time on the Manspace. We miss you, Rob.